What if the strangest things about you, your déjà vu, your sudden fears, your talents that came out of nowhere, aren't random quirks but breadcrumbs? Imagine just for a moment that your life is a map you secretly drew before you were born. And tonight, we're turning on the backlight. Simple idea, wild implication. You might have been here before. Sounds bold, right? Yet buried inside Buddhist teachings is a quietly radical invitation. Look closer. Here's the paradox that calms the heart. You don't need to believe anything. You only need to notice. In this film-like exploration, we'll weave Buddhist wisdom, Dharma talks, and hands-on Buddhist mindfulness so you can test things in real time. Through Zen meditation and Vipassana meditation, we'll meet patterns you've been dragging across lifetimes. And yes, we'll keep it friendly for Buddhism for beginners, while deep enough for long-time practitioners. We'll unpack the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path like a practical toolkit, not a museum piece. Turning philosophy into daily Buddhist practice, you can try tonight. Expect grounded Buddhist stories and parables, relatable Buddhist life lessons, and that spacious warmth of genuine Buddhist spirituality. If the 7 signs are real, they won't ask for faith, they'll ask for attention. Ready to take a kinder look at who you've been, so you can choose who you'll be next? You've felt it, haven't you? That eerie tug of familiarity, like life's handing you a script you've already rehearsed. In this journey, we'll weave Buddhist teachings with lived experience, turning mystery into calm clarity. Think of it as a cinematic Dharma walk. Buddhist wisdom, Zen meditation, and Buddhist mindfulness in plain human language. We'll borrow the spine of the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path to map inner weather, without dogma. And yes, we'll lean on Buddhist stories and parables so the mind understands and the heart actually feels. Here's the game plan we'll follow together, like a quiet Dharma talk that actually lands. First, what Buddhism really says about rebirth, minus superstition and fluff. Then, the odd clues life leaves behind, those 7 signs that whisper, "You've been here before." We'll ground this with research, but keep it friendly for Buddhism for beginners and deep enough for seasoned seekers. Along the way, we'll practice simple breath cues from Vipassana meditation to keep you steady. Every scene is built for daily life. Daily Buddhist practice you can do between emails and errands. We'll pull wisdom from Buddhist monks' teachings, translate it into choices you can make today. Expect reflections that feel like Buddhist life lessons, not lectures, pocketable, clear, and honest. Consider it a living script from Buddhist philosophy to Buddhist spirituality, written for modern souls. And just as the curtain rises on why we come back, we'll gently step into what the Buddha actually taught about rebirth. Buddhism's view on rebirth. Picture this. One flame lights another. Different candle, same fire. That's the feel of rebirth in Buddhist teachings. No fixed soul hitching a ride, just momentum shaped by intention. In plain terms, Buddhist philosophy says your actions, speech, and thoughts imprint tendencies that carry forward. When you sit in Zen meditation, you can sometimes sense this flow, like currents beneath the surface of a calm lake. You're not a static you, you're a living process. The Four Noble Truths call out how craving binds that process to stress, while the Noble Eightfold Path shows how to unbind it. In Buddhist mindfulness, we watch causes and effects in real time, habit, action, result. That clarity becomes Buddhist life lessons you can actually use in daily Buddhist practice. Less theory, more traction. It's the kind of thing you hear in grounded Dharma talks. So who is reborn? Not a permanent self, but a pattern, like a melody played on a new instrument. Buddhist monks' teachings often use Buddhist stories and parables to land this. The river changes every second, yet we still call it the river. Through Vipassana meditation, and even for Buddhism for beginners, we notice how choices ripple into tomorrow. That raises a bold question we'll lean into next. If this is true, does any real-world evidence point the same way? Scientific and historical evidence. Let's keep it grounded. Over decades, psychiatrists like Dr. Ian Stevenson and Dr. Jim Tucker cataloged thousands of child cases with names, places, and habits that checked out. James Leininger's W.B. Poor pilot memories are the headline, sure, but there are quieter files just as startling. When you hear these in Dharma talks, they don't prove metaphysics, they nudge curiosity. Buddhist teachings don't ask blind belief, only careful looking, which is very Buddhist philosophy. Here's where you come in. Notice how these reports echo Buddhist wisdom about causes and conditions shaping a stream of experience. In Buddhist mindfulness or even relaxed Zen meditation, we watch patterns arising and passing like weather. That's relatable for Buddhism for beginners and veterans alike. Evidence outside, observation inside. Put together, they become real Buddhist life lessons, less spooky, more, oh, that tracks. And no, we're not tossing the Four Noble Truths or the Noble Eightfold Path out the window. If anything, they're the method that keeps us sane while we explore. In Vipassana meditation, we test claims by watching mind and memory directly, not by chasing sensationalism. Buddhist spirituality thrives on integrity. Buddhist monks' teachings and Buddhist stories and parables remind us, look, test, be kind. Which begs the next question. If rebirth leaves fingerprints, what signs might show up in an ordinary life? The 7 signs of past lives. You felt odd jolts of this again, right? In Buddhist teachings, those jolts can look like 7 quiet flags. Unexplained phobias, recurring dreams, instant recognition of places or faces, untrained talents, heavy déjà vu, birthmarks echoing old wounds, and fierce pull towards certain eras or cultures. We frame them with Buddhist wisdom so they don't turn into superstition. Through Buddhist mindfulness and Zen meditation, you watch them without clinging. In Dharma talks, these become Buddhist life lessons, signals, not verdicts. Take phobias and dreams first. A child terrified of water with no bad memories is a classic case in Buddhist philosophy circles. We treat it with compassion and curiosity. In Vipassana meditation, you note the fear's breath, image, and body heat. No stories, just data. That's Buddhism for beginners done right. Gentle, repeatable, verifiable, in daily Buddhist practice. Buddhist monks' teachings often pair this with 4 noble truths. There's suffering, a cause, a path out. Then there's the spark of talent and the magnetism of a culture you just know. Maybe your hands play melodies you never learned, or ancient scripts feel like home. In Buddhist spirituality, we honor that pull while staying grounded in the Noble Eightfold Path, especially right view and right intention. We let Buddhist stories and parables keep us humble so wonder doesn't become ego. Noticing the signs is step 1. Skillfully exploring them is where we're headed next, toward methods for recalling, safely and clearly. How to access past life memories. Start simple. Breath, body, kindness. In Buddhist teachings, memory opens when tension softens, so we anchor in Buddhist mindfulness and steady Zen meditation. The Buddha's method, Pubbenivasanusati Jnana, arises from calm and clarity, not force. Think Vipassana meditation. Observe images, emotions, and sensations as passing weather. In Dharma talks and Buddhist monks' teachings, you'll hear this framed as trustworthy Buddhist wisdom for Buddhism for beginners and veterans alike. Here's a clear protocol we can practice together. First, right intention. We seek healing, not spectacle, straight from the Noble Eightfold Path and the 4 Noble Truths. Second, concentration. Count breaths, widen awareness, then let scenes surface without grabbing them. Classic Buddhist philosophy applied in daily Buddhist practice. Third, journaling. Date, describe, and debrief, turning impressions into grounded Buddhist life lessons. This is how Buddhist spirituality stays real and kind. What about modern tools, lucid dreaming or guided regression? Use them like a raft, helpful, not holy. Set boundaries, consent, and aftercare. If strong emotions rise, pause and return to the breath. Wise Buddhist stories and parables always point back to balance. If symbols repeat across sessions, gently test them against history or skills that emerge. When the dust settles, you'll notice patterns, karmic grooves we can actually reshape, which points us straight at the next step, transformation through awareness. Transformation through awareness. When you start seeing patterns, life stops feeling random and starts feeling workable. In Buddhist teachings, awareness is the lever, intention is the fulcrum, habits are the boulder we move. Through Buddhist mindfulness and steady Zen meditation, you notice the loop: trigger, urge, choice, ripple. That's where Buddhist wisdom sneaks in and upgrades the script. Tiny shifts, big outcomes. Bit by bit, your days become lived Dharma talks, not just heard ones. Let's get practical. We name a pattern gently: fear of loss, grasping for praise, running from silence. With Vipassana meditation, we sit with the raw sensations so the story loses its teeth. The Four Noble Truths map the pressure points. The Noble Eightfold Path provides new moves. In daily Buddhist practice, you swap reactivity for choice, turning scars into Buddhist life lessons. Even for Buddhism for beginners, that's advanced work in plain clothes. Compassion grows next, first for yourself, then for everyone stuck in similar karmic weather. Buddhist monks' teachings remind us, when we meet pain with care, karma rethreads itself. Across time, this becomes Buddhist spirituality you can feel: quieter mind, kinder reflexes, clearer purpose. You'll notice how certain Buddhist stories and parables mirror your own arc, like old friends waving you on. And that nudge invites a deeper question. If awareness transforms karma, what's the ultimate point of coming back again and again? The ultimate purpose of reincarnation. Here's the heart of it. You're not trapped in an endless carousel. You're invited into mastery. In Buddhist teachings, rebirth isn't punishment, it's a curriculum. Life hands you electives tailored to your karmic patterns, and through Buddhist mindfulness and Zen meditation, you learn to choose wiser credits. The Four Noble Truths outline why we spin. The Noble Eightfold Path shows how we step off, one compassionate choice at a time. That's Buddhist wisdom made practical. As awareness stabilizes, you begin to taste what Dharma talks call timeless knowing: quiet, vast, ungraspable. You still pay your bills, love your people, do the dishes, but something in you is less sticky, more free. In Vipassana meditation, this shows up as fewer tangles and quicker forgiveness. It's classic Buddhist philosophy, shifting your day-to-day into daily Buddhist practice, the sort Buddhist monks' teachings have modeled for centuries. The result feels like real Buddhist spirituality, not a costume. So what's beyond the wheel? Not annihilation, clarity. When clinging drops, the stream flows without friction, and suffering loses its grip. Buddhist life lessons stop being lessons because there's nothing left to learn the hard way. We return to a simple presence that Buddhist stories and parables have hinted at all along. And just as that door opens, another curiosity follows. How do we invite others into this freedom with warmth and skill? Before we wrap, I want to hear your story. Which of the 7 signs resonated with you? Unlearned talents, déjà vu, those vivid dreams? Drop your experiences in the comments. Your voice might be the missing piece for someone else walking this path of Buddhist teachings, testing Buddhist wisdom through real life. Think of this space like modern Dharma talks. We learn together, we grow together. Tell us, which practice will you try tonight? 5 quiet minutes of Zen meditation, a short Vipassana meditation body scan, or a simple note in your journal for daily Buddhist practice? What surprised you about the Four Noble Truths or the Noble Eightfold Path when applied to reincarnation? Share the Buddhist life lessons you've earned the hard way. If you're brand new, Buddhism for beginners, what felt clear and what's still foggy? If this journey brought you clarity or calm, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next chapter of Buddhist spirituality. Practical tools, Buddhist monks' teachings, and grounded Buddhist stories and parables that make Buddhist philosophy feel lived, not lectured. Your reflection could be the lantern someone needs tonight, ready to keep walking together.